Hey, dog.
Hello.
Hey. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey.
Double intro.
No. I made a waiting reel, man. I've also got an intro reel. So we'll play that at 5. Hang on, I gotta see how to turn this thing off.
This is
Oh, just doing some tech live on the potty. Is anybody even in here yet? Hey. Oh, no one's here. No one cares. We got 0 people in the chat so far, so that's totally fine. All right, so well, at the moment I can't get it off the screen, so I got to figure that part out. Yeah, go back to preview mode. There we go. There we go. Now I switch to the intro outro reel. Pause that sucker, and we good. So at 5, I can hit the live button, press play, and it'll go to the new West Tigers faithful entrance reel.
wonderful. Also, great jersey.
It's a good one, isn't it? I have a fair few Tigers jerseys. You know, I've got the Balmain jersey, but every other jersey aside from my Balmain jersey, I got a 2006 Proton Cars jersey. But
That's one of the greats, I reckon.
But the other ones I have are all Bryden Sloyers jerseys. You know, Bryden Sloy. How's my audio today, by the way?
Good, except I'm echoing a little bit.
How? It's coming. You're coming out of my earphones, so it's not echoing through my speakers.
Hold on. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, no, I don't
know.
I don't know. Is it? You're not echoing to me, buddy. So that's all good. I want to see 1 second. All settings. All right. Output, input. Where's input? Surface camera. Yeah, that's fine. Communications headset, default headphones. So it's currently picking up the mic through my headphones again, which is shit. I've got to make it pick up. Hang on. Is it coming through this? Is this it?
It only just went through then.
Yeah. Okay. So it is coming through the mic.
The echo's stronger now.
Your echo.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. That's so strange. Hello, everybody, and welcome to West Tigers Faithful. We're just doing some IT. Bear with us, because we know how much it sucked last week when everything was shit. So we're gonna just take a couple of seconds here, and I'm gonna try to make sure that our audio is not absolutely balked like it was last week before we inundate you with a whole bunch of shit. All right. Where's the audio settings? If anybody has any tips on how we can make our audio suck less, feel free to email westtigersfaithful@gmail.com. Oh, what the heck? Sound. Ah. Sound settings, there we go. Alright, where to play sound? Playing it out of my headphones, that's good. Input, mic in. No, it should be good. My audio should be fine.
Hold on. There's still a little bit of an echo, but whatever.
Is it just you that's echoing?
Yeah, maybe it's, I don't know. Is it possible that it's me?
Just speak again.
Hello?
Is it still echoing?
I think it just went away.
It must have just been coming out of my headset so loud it was feeding into there.
I see.
Now, guess what, everybody? We've got something special for you. In 5 seconds, I'm going to press a button, and cool things are going to happen. And let's go.
West Tigers Faithful, episode 35. To anybody who was tuning in previously, I think we've got our sound issues fixed, but we'll see what happens. Joe McCord, how are you?
I'm good. You know, that, like, crazy good intro reel there. If you don't watch this live on YouTube at 5 p.m, I just made a cool little intro reel thing. An iconic photo provided to me by some dudes that I met in WhatsApp, who apparently are in that photo, from the Tommy Raudonikis game, booing the team off the field. Iconic photo. What's up, Jay? Best League Podcast. That's absolutely right.
Thanks, Jay, who I believe is Tydo. Furthermore, on that photo, I believe that one of those men is one Rob Bashara.
Are you shitting me?
No,
He's not in that WhatsApp group.
Noted fan of Casey Badger.
I don't think Rob's in the WhatsApp group. He might be.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm fairly sure he's in that. He might be mates with those boys. But anyway, shout out to the WhatsApp lads. Mate, gonna jump straight in. I don't know if you saw it. Brent Reed and Buzz Rothfield were on the Daily Triple M podcast today. They opened it with Tiger Troubles, saying that if Benji Marshall finishes in the bottom four, he will be in serious doubt of keeping his job. Where does that sit with you?
I think it's a little bit harsh, but it's kind of the reality of the NRL, really, isn't it? Like, I think it's a very black and white thing to say. But when you look at the side that Benji's forced to name this week, I mean, should it just be him that's, being criticised if we finish in the bottom four? Because, I'm really starting to wonder what Shane Richardson's plans are with our roster depth, considering we've been playing for so long, so short.
It's dead quiet at the moment too, which last year was almost a good thing. You knew that he was going to come up for air, but it's not like last year where, the season was effectively a write-off. Some people may think of it, but we are 5-7. We're sitting.
We're one win out of the 8.
That's right. We're sitting about 13th, and with some mid-season reinforcements, we could be in a real position to have a decent run home. But nonetheless, I mean, it is fair to question Shane, especially when he got on James Graham's podcast to get on the front foot about the Galvin narrative, and said that he had signings plural lined up, likely for 2026. But nonetheless, we haven't heard anything. Which again, you can say, okay, maybe he's working to get more deals done. He's going to announce a cluster. The serotonin hit will be off its head. But at the same time, where are you, Shane?
Yeah, I think it's, Shane Richardson's not exactly somebody that I would expect to say something like that and just be absolutely bullshitting. I think that he'll have something. The hope is that it's something now and also something substantial, right? So, there's been some pretty good rumors around. There's been at least one name linked with our club in the last month that I've heard that is, very exciting. A guy currently playing Super Rugby Union overseas. Don't think I need to explain any further who I'm referring to. And then there's been a few others. I've heard rumors of David Fifita, and he got dropped by the Gold Coast, and Scott Sattler came out and said that he should leave, the Titans. And, David Fifita, he's still only 25. When he was at his best, when he was younger, he was an absolute tearaway. And, our back row depth is abysmal. I think David Fifita would walk into our starting 13 as a back row, or even on form that he's in today, right? So there's him, and there's, a couple of rumours of some Broncos players. I know Katoni Staggs is now. There's some questions being asked of the Broncos about why they signed Grant Anderson without re-upping Katoni, and Selwyn Cobbo's also off contract. So there's certainly names around. And the Broncos are probably, a club where you could probably get some players off them now too, because they do need to sort of front load some contracts and really think about, their roster in a more progressive way.
Most definitely. But back to the issue at hand, I guess, of Benji, is that the question is always the chicken or the egg scenario on whether or not he has the team or the squad to work with. It sounds like to me you're sort of somewhere in the middle. Is that sort of correct? As in, the squad still needs surgery and Benji can lean on that a little bit, but it doesn't tell the full story.
Yeah, I think as of today, it's kind of out of Benji's hands, right? Like I think up until like last week, maybe. Oh, yeah, really up until last week. The depth, I wouldn't have pointed at the depth as really something to blame. But now that Twal's out, now that Royce Hunt's been dropped for whatever reason, Royce Hunt's been dropped. I know one carry for 7 meters in 15 minutes on the weekend is probably the reason. I like our middles depth is really bad, right? Like we're now playing a bench this week, which we'll get into, that doesn't have a genuine prop on the bench. And we don't even have a genuine prop on the extended bench. And when you consider that we released David Klemmer, we released Tim Johansson, it's really, really questionable roster decision making. And I don't know who is more responsible for that out of Benji Marshall or the front office. So as of today, you know, I think that, you know, the team that we rolled out this weekend would be lucky to beat any team in the NRL. So it's pretty tough to now from now forward to really hold Benji all that accountable, aside from the effort areas. You know, if the team still shows up and puts their best foot forward, they will jag a win here or there with a side of this quality, because other teams, you know, on their day can show up flat and be ambushed by any team, like on any day. But any side that shows up at their best 17 for 17 is going to beat the West Tigers with the West Tigers team that we're running out this weekend, in my opinion.
I mean, look, you look at the bench and it is certainly light on. You know, if you were going to put every single bench player for both West and Penrith on the scales, yeah, I mean, there's a vast difference there. I guess I sit in a bit of a different spot. I'm hopeful that, as you say, those effort areas and you know, the never say die attitude that, you know, that we saw on Saturday night, and we'll get to that properly in a little bit, you know, remains, and they continue to stay in games right to the end of it, then you know, we'll make the right decision around Marshall. But at the same time, if that disappears quickly and these players put the cue in the rack, then they'll end up with their coach sacked. And you know, his playing group is firmly behind Benji, and I respect that. And obviously, that speaks to, you know, how well he's done around culture and buy-in and sort of leadership as well. But at the same time, you know, he's going to really need those leaders to stand up and deliver. And furthermore, we're going to have to need to be really lucky with our injuries, because you know, we're now talking about potentially a future being on the line. So if they want him to stay around, they're going to have to try and jag a few wins, as you mentioned, by putting his foot forward.
Yeah, and it's not like we're gonna, unless we bring him from the outside, it's not like there's gonna be reinforcements coming. Twel's, you know, he'll come back. Whether he should or not, considering his concussion history, is up for debate. Bole's ages away. And Royce Hunt, man, like, I don't know, that like him getting dropped after the performance that he put on the weekend, like that feels like a red pen to me. Like it feels like he got hooked and then dropped, and that's pretty hard for him to come back from, I think. Especially considering he's a player who has kind of implied in the past that maybe he's kind of feeling like he's not really all that up for the week-to-week grind of the NRL anymore, considering he was planning retirement. You know, his words, he was planning retirement after his Sharks contract was up. And it's not like we're stacked with depth options in the middle. Obviously, we aren't. But we also there are a couple of names in New South Wales Cup that I feel like, you know, at least one of them, I'm quite confused as to why he wasn't at least named in the 22 this week, considering his performances, and we'll talk about him, Jackson Rami. And then there's, you know, a new signing that we made from Canberra's development squad, who in a couple of weeks' time, after he gets his, gets wet behind the ears, he might actually, you know, shape up pretty fast, because he was all right. But they're not world beaters, you know. They're not. It's not depth you can rely on. And so, to me, it's not just about the bench either, really. Though, like I know, like I think our top 13 is pretty good. but it's questionable. Like I think it might turn out to be okay, but Seafarth at 13 historically hasn't performed well. Suka this is his starting debut this weekend. So, but we've got a couple of reinforcements as well. So, look, I hope to stand corrected. The one thing I will say is that I think all the pressure is going to be off this weekend. I know it's 3 losses in a row, so usually you would think the pressure's mounting, but considering the depth challenges, the injury issues, I don't think anybody expects us to win this weekend, and I like that because Penrith are on the struggle, and they're coming off a pretty bad win. So Penrith would want to be careful that they don't show up and get ambushed by a Tiger side they have no right to lose to, and I think it's possible that could happen, but we'll see.
There's certainly chinks in their armour, and we'll talk about that when we preview that match. But as you said, we've lost 3 in a row, and the third one on the bounce was the 32-28 loss to the Cowboys in Townsville on Saturday night. I guess the easiest way to sum this up is a really conflicting performance. On one hand, I sit here and I go, up until minute sort of 60, we look terrible. It was shades of the previous 3 years in regards to discipline, some defensive aptitude, and some concerns around fitness. And then the last obviously 20 minutes, which coincided with having 13 players on the field for an extended period of time. Suddenly you're beginning to go, oh, okay, all right, this is beginning to look okay. And at one point, I didn't think at any point that we were actually going to win that match. But you sit back and you wonder what could have been, and that's what I mean by being conflicted. I think again, people are going to crack the shits, the Benji out crowd around. Oh yeah, he said that you can be happy with the effort and be pissed off with that. But at the end of the day, that is a positive. It did look like it could have been 70-0 at one point, similar to like it was a couple of years ago. And genuinely, that was absolutely on the card. So I sit here, angel on my shoulder going, if it was 13 on 13 and a couple of the 50-50s went our way, things might have been different. Devil on my shoulder says, well, for 60 minutes, we look like the team that's going to run last again. So if you could try and help me work through those feelings, that'd be wonderful.
Well, I'm good at it. You're at the schizophrenia point of West Tigers fandom. It seems like it's about that age. You're at about that age. You're entitled to now. But you're surrounded by experienced operators, and it's a safe space here, Jared. So, look, I'm going to come at it a little bit differently. I know that being down 32-6 is a painful feeling, and it was pit of despair stuff, and it was harrowing. But the reality, as the facts, is that they scored 1 try against us, 13 on 13, and Jerome Luai has to take some accountability for getting himself sin binned. Absolutely. Adam Dewey, it was pretty unlucky. I think you could kind of make both arguments pretty evenly as to whether he was rightfully sin binned. Did he turn on purpose to try to clip Bateman? Maybe just very instinctively clicking maybe he just went, but at the same time, he's entitled to turn around, and he wasn't looking at Bateman.
He also has the turning circle of an over carrying a demountable classroom. So
yeah, and look, I mean, the guys are getting hammered about 3 losses in a row, but it's Benji and the boys need to not make excuses, but I can sure make excuses, and I think it's easy as a pundit, as a podcaster, or a social media commentator to take the easy approach and just let your emotions and speak and wear your heart on your sleeve and just be, it's shit. It's all shit. This is crap. Fold the club. But they came back from 32-6 down with 17 minutes on the clock, and they had a genuine chance to win that game. That shows a lot of belief. and belief will take you pretty far in the NRL. And belief comes from the coach, right? It does. Like, a side that's not playing for the coach doesn't come close to crawling themselves back into that game. And considering the final scoreline of that game, 13-13, was 28-6 West Tigers over the Cowboys. I think that this game is 2 points that, us not winning does not tell a fair story. I think that the Cowboys, I'm very much, all I'll say is I'm very much looking forward to the return fixture, because I feel like that it'll be a very much the other way around outcome. I do want to also, though, question why our players keep putting themselves into situations like this. Like, this is they have to take accountability. They have to find some way to, make the necessary change to avoid this stuff. What could Jerome Luai do differently? Well, pretty obviously, Jerome Luai did what he did. It's easy to say the referee should have given him a warning, but I don't know. Like, Jerome Luai made that mistake. He did do what he did. He was intentionally slowing down the play the ball, and we were not under pressure. Sure, It was like the 12th tackle in a row, but they were going nowhere, dude. And that's the sort of turning point where, like, if they get up and knock on from the play the ball, or like, just don't score a try there, we go down the other end and score most of the time. That's just the facts. The NRL's like that. You know how momentum is, like, that's just, we'd probably take the ball out of our own end, get a piggyback penalty, tow her over on the right hand side. Like that. And Jerome Luai should know how to feel a game, to know better than to do what he did there. Like, it was only the first tackle. What's a repeat set going to give us anyway? Like, it's just let them have the quick play the ball. Even if they score, it's like, you just absorb 12 fucking, like, just reset, right? You've still got 13 men. It was a very bad decision from him. I think he's playing like a man that is really putting a lot of pressure on himself now. That's what it feels like. Like, he was really redlining. I saw a lot of effort out of Jerome on the weekend. He was running hard. He was dancing all over the field. He's playing like a whirling dervish, and it was too much because the other players around him had no idea what he was doing. Like, he was really trying to take it all onto himself. And granted, when it all finally clicked towards the end there, he was a big reason why we were putting the Cowboys under pressure. Like, it wasn't like he was the man with the ball in his hand when the big moment happened anytime, but a lot of the lead up work coming up the field was off of his second phase, like dancing around and putting pressure on the defense and, skipping on the outside, causing an overlap to get a half break and things like this happening. So, it's tough because, you've got to give him the credit for really putting the bit between his teeth and having a go, Jared, but he also got us into that mess. He's the one player in the side that really can't be doing that. Like, he's on the big money. He's the captain. He can't be doing that. Adam Doueihi sin bin. I think personally, I kind of have to just shrug my shoulders and just go 50-50 went the wrong way. I don't really think that Bateman was anywhere close enough to the ball for it to even constitute a professional foul, to be honest. I think it was a really, really weird decision because it was like a 50-50 coin flip in the first place as to whether Doueihi did it on purpose. There's too much doubt there for you to sin bin a guy. 10 minutes in the bin for something that could easily have been an accident. And then to top it off, Bateman was nowhere near scoring. That was not a try-scoring opportunity for John Bateman. So I just think that was a terrible call. And I personally think if Adam Doueihi doesn't get sin bin there, we probably win by 20 points, to be honest. If I have to be honest, the Cowboys were really struggling to do anything when we were 13-13, and it would have been a matter of time before we scored a try and the avalanche began. That avalanche was momentum. The Cowboys are not a side that can handle momentum against them. It comes crashing in on them like a tidal wave. So anyway, that's my take on the game, pretty much.
Well, it's an interesting one, and I was actually having a chat to the great Dan Talentire, who is the former media manager of the Tigers. obviously a very passionate Tigers fan. He's also my boss. But he sort of said, that the calls that were made against us weren't necessarily the wrong calls, but they weren't calls that are typically made by referees. And once again, it was West Tigers being the example that no doubt they use at the refereeing academy. But I really want to circle back to what you were saying about Jerome Luai. And I agree with you. He was trying very, very hard, and he was probably accused of doing too much. And when things started to click, he was certainly a big part of that, and he was always involved. But I think we are seeing a man that is out of form and is probably pushing things a little bit too hard, as you say. He was redlining. I thought some of the kicks that he put up, were not up to standard of a halfback on, with the level of expectation we have around him. Whether or not he's rushing things or he's just not going through his process. But, the game against South, you sort of thought, okay, he's kicking into the wind, it's rainy. Okay, maybe there's a depth problem simply because of the conditions. But on a clear night with no wind in Townsville, he was still producing those same things. And, I know that Jerome's not the conventional 7, but if we are going to move down the track, and we've debated it a million times, I'm not going to do it again. But if we are going to move down the track with him as our 7, he just has to get those sets right. He has to, the cage, the 10 by 10 cage, or the box that they call it, his cage kicks are non-existent. They need to be longer, they need to be deeper, they need to be higher. These are things that, as a result of him trying too hard or redlining, that we are, lacking, and it's really hurting us. And again, attack began to click, but I'm really hopeful that Jerome was able to see that last week was an example of 60 minutes of what not to do. Don't go chasing the game like that. Get your chances, they'll come, and you can score points quickly. But just get the basics right, and the rest will come.
Yeah, I think that there's probably an element of him trying to do too much is also what he has to try to do. Because if he's going to play himself, if he's going to figure out how to actually add value, it's not going to come from being passive. He's not the sort of dude that's going to die wondering. So we probably are just going to keep seeing him kind of do that, like redline and push it until everybody else sort of catches up with him, is probably my take on it. And I saw good signs from Heath Mason. I think he suits Luai a little bit as a 6. Just skipping to this week's team sheet, and I said it's a pretty abysmal side, but there's only really one justification that I can think of, and it's that maybe there was like a turning point in Benji's mind on the weekend just gone, where he kind of realizes that this roster that he has is only going to win games if they go all out attack mode and go full small ball. Because it was when he brought Naden on in the second half instead of Hunt and went full small ball, and it's not as though Naden had a blinder, it's probably more like addition by subtraction. But when he brought Naden on instead of Hunt, that's when we started to kick on. So I'm wondering whether that's why he's gone small bench, that's why he's persevered with Mason again, and we're just going to go all out run and just go ballistic Benji Marshall style. I probably would do that. If that's his intention, I can see why. I'd give it a red hot crack, because I feel like that it's probably the only way we win games at this point. If we try to hold on and grind them out and play high percentage and kick high, chase hard, all of this sort of stuff, we give away too many penalties. The ball bounces the wrong way against us. The guys are low on confidence. We're probably going to need to rebuild that confidence and to rebuild that belief and to get the ball bouncing the right way again. It probably does come from just having a blow at the cobwebs performance and just, that might not happen this week. We might come out, try that, drop every ball, have a 63% completion rate and lose 30-4. But you probably then just do it again, and you just do it again until you actually win that game. Because you cast your mind back to the long streaks that we've had in the past couple of years of L's. At no point did we really do that. We were trying to win by playing high percentage. It was build discipline, win on high percentage plays, low error rates, and we were losing games with a 95% completion rate some weeks. So if that's the justification for the side that he's picked, then I can see the justification. I hope that's the case, because otherwise we're just going to get steamrolled.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. You talk about, the change in speed and intensity and the way that we were sort of playing football on that last 20 minutes, but I think it's been a recurrence the last two games that we've played against both South and Cowboys. We've been chasing the game, and we've levelled up a gear, and, both teams have kind of struggled to go with us. I understand that they're backing their fitness, and that they just want to hang in the contest and come home strong. But I would really like to see a fast start. I think it's extremely important. And we know that they have that level of intensity in them. We need to see it from minute 1 until minute 80. And if that happens, then they will give themselves every chance of winning, not just this week, but every single weekend. It's almost frustrating in a sense of where has this been for the first 60? Sometimes I sit there and I'm tearing my hair out as a result. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. You got anything else to cover on the on the Cowboys game? I was going to say just quickly. Obviously, Stafford Toa an elite performance. A bit of conjecture around whether or not he has an extension coming. He looked to have put it to bed, but I'd heard myself that the club is looking to resolve that situation in the next few weeks before he obviously goes to market November 1, so they know what they've got. But Sione Fainu, I thought, was phenomenal. 8 runs for 118 metres. I think it was about 20 tackles, 3 ineffective. So obviously the Cowboys, I assume they would have been a bit of second phase around the time that they would have had 12 men. I thought he was excellent as well and really stood up. I thought Tony Sukar, he just seems to have that ability to end up, out the other side of the collision. He seems to have the ability to get the levers free. He produced one of the most West Tigers plays ever, as Tiger Pass coined it, with the slips catch around his ankles and then the terrible flick pass to follow it up, which then led him to drink water dry. But nonetheless, there's absolutely some positives, and a lot of it is coming from these kids, similar to last year. It's albeit a different crop.
Yeah, I thought Stafford Toa was superb. And NBWT put out a tweet. Can somebody please explain to me why Stafford Toa has such a, I don't know exactly the wording, but it has such a grudge against the Cowboys. Like, he just seems to, every time he plays the Cowboys, he just carves them. I think I also mentioned on X that I think Stafford Toa, people need to start giving him a lot more credit. He's always had these sort of performances in him. The knock on him in the past has been consistency, maybe not the best offensively. This year he's been very consistent. His attack has been extremely consistent. He has the most try assists to another player as anybody in the NRL. He has given Sunia Taruba 5 tries. That's outright first. There's a couple of other combos that have 4. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good, man. Like, and to top it off, obviously he's got spiders on him this year. Like, people just can't tackle him. That's probably his worst offensive performance, but all of the issues came from being down 12 men, so I don't begrudge him that. Aside from that, I thought Heath Mason really, we talked at length about, what type of 6 he might be and what a good Heath Mason game in retrospect might look like. And he had a good game. It was what he needed to do. He played to his strengths, avoided any silly errors, ran hard, scored a nice try, made a really nice length of the field sort of line break from deep in our own end, and tried really hard all game. Terrell May was outstanding again. Another 200-meter performance. He's pretty much doing a solo job at the moment in our forward pack. Sione Fainu aside off the bench, but as far as starters go, so there were some positives, and aside from that, I think that there's probably a little bit of concern I have now about whether the rot has set in again. That was a very pit of despair performance. I keep using that word, but it seems like when the Tigers get in the pit of despair, that's when the ball starts bouncing away from us and stuff like that. So we definitely need to circuit break that. So hopefully that starts this weekend.
Speaking of, West Tigers play the Penrith Panthers in a home game at Combank Stadium. You can frame that however you like. At 4 o'clock on the Sunday, which means that however way you spin it, you're going to be reflecting on the game because there's a public holiday on Monday.
Not here, there's not.
Oh, well, you're lucky then. Nonetheless, team list is as follows. Dream Buller is the fullback. He also had a wonderful game. I feel like we take him for granted. He is genuinely that good. Only his 50th game in first grade last week. Sania Taruva and Jarrell Skelton is back on the wing. Adam Newey and Stafford Toe are the centres. The halves, once again, Mason keeps his number 6 jersey. Jerome Luai the 7. The starting forward pack is as follows. Terrell May, Api Coruscant, Sione Fainu starts for the first time this year, which is pretty exciting. Samuela Fainu, left edge. Tony Suka, right edge. Alex Seafarth plays at lock. I apologise if anybody can hear my dog going berserk in the background. The bench, Latu Fainu, Jack Bird, Kitlau Le'i and Charlie Murray. As you mentioned at the top of the show, no front rowers on that bench, all locks. This is going to be very, very interesting. Hopefully these boys are just hoping to play high leg speed, throw the footy around, push the pass a little bit, low completion, but high output in regards to point scoring and flat and fast through the middle.
Geez, it's sad to see the reserves of the Penrith Panthers. They've got Isaiah Papali'i and Luke Garner on their extended bench. I would take them both back in a heartbeat today. I would wager that would be our starting back row pair this week if we had them. I find that quite hilarious. Congratulations, Charlie Murray, on getting a debut. You know what they say, if you have nothing nice to say, not to say anything at all. So I'll probably just leave it at that.
Charlie has been in a couple of different systems, I believe. Melbourne, the Gold Coast Titans. He's a lock forward. He's similar to Tristan Hope. Played a lot of reserve grade. Won the occasional Queensland Cup title.
Look, maybe he proves me wrong, Charlie. Look, you know what? Everybody needs their, naysayers. Everybody needs somebody to prove wrong, and I'm yours, mate. I think you are very, very far off first grade. Come out and make a fool of me, please, mate. Make an absolute mockery of me. I hope. Look, the one thing I will say to his credit, Jared, is he has a pretty high tackle efficiency, which is certainly an issue for us. So, if he turns out to just be a tackle dog, we could do worse. I think personally, all of our sort of fringe players, all are kind of boomy kind of, attack and flair kind of style players, even the forwards, right? Kitlau Lele's strengths, runs like a freight train, good ball work, can't tackle for shit. So PODs like Charlie Murray, maybe they have a place. Maybe we need to start, supplementing our flair with some good defensive kind of minded players. So good luck to him. Latu's back.
He is back. I was about to say at least these front rowers complement one another. One can't hit the footy up, one can. One can't tackle, one can. But nonetheless, Latu Fainu is back. I would assume that Heath probably goes to a 13 role, possibly 9, depending on where up he's at. Is that sort of what you're getting as well? Latu goes to the number 6 jersey, or could we see Latu a lock again?
I think that I'd be guessing there's a few ways that this could go. I think Appy will play 80. I think when Latu comes on, it'll either be small ball. He'll be coming on to play the role Brent Naden played last week, or maybe he comes on, moves into the 6. Mason goes to fullback. Baller moves into the centres. Something like that might be on the cards. It depends, I guess, how desperate the stakes get. Because Benji's at the moment, he's at. It looks to me like he's at the point where he's starting to just throw things around and just, I got to figure out the combos. He's given it some time to click. It hasn't clicked the way he's wanted it to click, and now he's going, okay, I gotta find some combos. So that could be on the cards. Look, I don't think I don't think that would be a bad thing to try. Like, in the run, like obviously I'm not suggesting Heath Mason supplant Jareem Buller as a fullback anytime soon, but Jareem Buller, Heath Mason, if the game's broken down, like maybe the back end of the first half or, like late in the game, bringing Latu and Heath on to both play in the line might be a pretty good idea. So it could play out that way.
I'd like to see, similar to what Melbourne used to do with Ben Hampton, and bring him on and play two fullbacks that sort of sweep both sides. And then Heath can do some defending in the middle. I mean, for all the concerns about his size, the effort that he made on Jeremiah Nenno on Saturday night was phenomenal early in the
was a hell of a tackle.
Yeah, I don't think he's got too many issues.
He did make 8 missed tackles.
This is true.
But you're right. It didn't. None of his missed tackles seemed to stand out. Right, like he passed the eye test defensively. It's only on paper
how many
that
of them were attributed to like second phase from the Cowboys with 12 men. I guess I could be wrong, and I know that's a few.
If he isn't making one-on-one open field tackles in second phase, that's bad. Because the Tigers get into that situation all the time, so even if that is a weakness, it's not a good one to have at this particular club. I think that. I don't know, man. It's a lot. I think a lot's going to come down to whether or not Kit Lalali'i can genuinely play a role as a prop. Like if Kit Lalali'i comes on the field and actually holds his own, keeps the missed tackle count down, runs hard, gets through some numbers as a relief player, if he can get 30 good minutes out of him to complement, then we might have a chance. I want to throw something out there. Right now, we've got Luke Lalali'i, Charlie Staines, who's been in good form, Brent Naden, and they're in the reserves. You got wingers, centers in the reserves. I know you're opposed to this idea, but like, is there a chance we might start to see Jarrell Skelton play some minutes in the middle? The guy's 110 kilos, and he's like played in the forwards earlier in his career. Like, when you have so much depth in his position, like is there an opportunity? Like, I think he could definitely play in the middle. Like, at least off the bench.
I think his front on defence he's solid. He can obviously he's a big body. He's great out of yardage. I see all of that, but at the same time, he's got some pace and some flair and some footwork, and he can finish off a try in the corner. So, and he's obviously such a gross physical imbalance on the wing. He absolutely bodied James Schiller earlier in the year. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like, hypothetically, if there's an injury in the middle and we need to cover it, then yeah.
It has to be him.
It has to be him, and Latu probably goes to the centres. So yeah, I mean, it's not something completely out of the question. Do I think Benji will do it? Probably not. But I mean, in saying that, I didn't anticipate to see Brent Naden in the back row last week.
Well, I look at it and I go, like, at a certain point, Luke Lalali'i is going to make his case undeniable. Like, we'll talk about the New South Wales Cup performance after we preview this game, but it was prodigious. Like, that's the sort of New South Wales Cup performance you want to see from a potential first grader, especially considering the kid's 18. Like, he's 18 playing in the second best league in the NRL. At a certain point, if Luke Lalali'i makes his case undeniable, like, you got to still find a place in the best 17 for Jarrell Skelton. He's in our best 17. And, as a bench player, Sidaleki Akawala springs to mind. He could play on the wing, played in the back row, could pinch hit in the middle. I think Jarrell Skelton is a better 14 than Brent Naden.
Yeah, well, when you put it like that, yes, but Brent Naden was never a very good 14 to begin with, and it speaks to...
I think Jarrell Skelton... I personally would... If it was me, I'd be, like, at least trying to give Skelton reps in the middle at training just to get a look at him. Because, like, with his size, his speed, he's starting to show signs of, like, that Ken Mamalo problem. Too big for his speed, so he's keeps getting leg injuries, his hammies and his knees. At a certain point, like it's not unprecedented for players like him to end up finding themselves in the pack.
This is true. Just talking about Penrith really quickly and some things on the tip sheet. Look, obviously, 4-time premiers. They're not the same team that they used to be, and we'll talk about some deficiencies that they have, but they are coming off a hard-fought win against Parramatta. It was a game that was lacking quality but wasn't lacking intensity, if that makes sense. But it's going to be quite interesting, I think. Look, I look at their back line, and there is absolutely points to be scored. I think Tom Jenkins, Tago as well, has his moments defensively. McLean can be exposed. There's absolutely points around those guys. Blaise Talangi's on the left edge, so Tony Suka, who's a big body, if we can sort of use him to get the arms free and sort of have Mason supporting back on the inside, there's points there. So I'm really, really curious to see how this goes. I'm really curious to see, obviously, as well, Dane Laurie, where they use him, given that he's in jersey 17. But it's going to be a really, really interesting clash, I think, because Penrith they're very systematic, getting the grind, and given what the Tigers have done, in the last 20 minutes of what we've seen them play, and the side that they've named and the bench that they possess, I think that they're probably going to throw a lot of their structure out the window and just push the pass and see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like that. Look, I'm looking at Penrith's side, and like their bench is pretty bad too. So, I mean, it's not like Penrith. It's not like Penrith are going to come over the top of us when their bench comes on the field. Summerton's a little bit of a journeyman hooker. Eisenhuth's obviously who he is. I don't know about this Liren Patea dude.
Very good player. Built like modern day prop. Built like a sort of a fucking medicine ball. High leg speed, can dent the line. So he's mainly the danger man off the bench. But other than that, I think that their bench is fairly containable. It's better than ours, obviously, but containable nonetheless.
Yeah, containable. So that's exactly right. And we have Terrell May, who will play 75 to 80 minutes, and they do not have a Terrell May counterpart. So. That does mean at least there's less pressure on our bench than there is on their bench.
Absolutely. Let's get your prediction in terms of scoreline and start talking about some other things.
Where is this game being played?
Combank.
We've only played one game at Combank this year so far. The Parramatta game. Oh no, two. Both Parramatta games, right?
Yep.
So that would mean that we're 1 win, 1 loss.
Yes.
At Combank. Yeah, look, I mean, I can't tip them. I can't tip the Tigers, but I wouldn't be surprised if we win. It wouldn't shock me just because Penrith they got the wobbly boot on, and Penrith are. Probably looking for an easy win. You know what I mean? They're probably looking at this and going a let up game, especially considering we're three on the hop, and we're really depth tested. You know what it reminds me of? If we do manage to jag this win, it'll be a bit like that game last year that we won with Latu and Galvin in the halves. What was that game? Late in the season when we won with Galvin and Latu in the halves. Latu put Alex Seafarth over untouched.
Oh, the Manly game, yeah. Aiden Caesar started that game, went off, yes.
That's right. Latu played 14, right?
Similar circumstances.
Yeah, very similar circumstances. So I don't know. I'd say Penrith. I'd say Penrith in a close one. I'm probably going to say Penrith probably 20-18. Yeah, something like that. 20-18.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. Again, similar to you, I wouldn't be surprised if we win, but just on paper, looking at it right now, given our current form, I can't tip a win. I'd probably go something like 28-24 or something similar. I think it'll be close. Yeah.
Good luck to them. One thing one guy I really hope to see, kick out of this funk is Samuela Fainu. I've mentioned it a few times now. I know you had a mad crack at me. I don't know how many beers you'd had that day, but you were certainly on
Sober as
one.
a judge.
Oh yeah, right here. Oh yeah, on the waters. No, look, I think he's playing with like a very low confidence. I think Samuela. If we had more back row depth, I think Samuela would find himself in the middle right now, and I think that'd be good for him because it simplifies things for him, right? There's a lot going on when you're playing in the back row, especially when you're playing in the back row in a side where the spine's not gelling. And Samuela does have a bit of skill to him, so he probably, is constantly thinking about trying to play make a bit too much when just grab the ball, mate, and just run straight, get involved. Try to. I'd like to see a performance from him where he gets 11, 12 hit ups even in the back row. If he just places a second middle and just focuses on just getting through the hard work, it'll certainly build his confidence back up. So I hope we see an improved performance from him because he's a very talented player.
Beauty, I hope so too. Look, it hasn't been an enjoyable year. For Sammy, but you can tell he very much cares about this club and about this team. It's just obviously injuries, combos, second year syndrome, teams doing video on him, like all these different things that are going on, and it's resulted in a rather interesting output from Sam. But it'd be nice to see an upturn.
We got the final 3 on the field this weekend. That's nice. That hasn't happened too often. We've got all 3 of them. Look who's in the chat. We got Damien. You reckon we know who that is?
I think I do, yeah.
Yeah, what's his ex-Balmain winger, Damien? Is that who you reckon it is?
No, I don't think it's ex-Balmain.
Big Damo? You don't think it's Big Damo?
No, I don't think so. I think that's our old friend DNA.
You reckon?
That. Yeah, I do.
Oh, he's having a bit. If that's the case, he's having a bit of a bloody sook in the chat today. Are you okay, mate? Do you want a hug?
That's what I thought. Started early.
Penrith reserve grade would beat us. CB says, "Oh, geez, boys, keep it in the therapy room. It's all right. It's all going to be okay. At the end of the day,
tough
this
out
is
there on the West Tigers message boards at the minute.
Oh, but it's the Tigers. There's 3. We've had 3 wooden spoons in a row. At a certain point, don't you just get numb to it? Just me? Just get numb to it?
No, maybe it's you. Certainly.
Am I the weird one?
No,
I'm just kidding. I feel it pretty bad on for about an hour after the game every week. But you gotta. Let's take a second and just do a little bit of self-care and love for our fellow West Tigers lads here. Fellas, you gotta have other things in your life to derive joy from aside from the West Tigers. Like if come Tuesday afternoon you're still proper pissed off and venting about the West Tigers, you've got to ask questions about what you've done between the game and now. Gents, are you okay? Do you need a high five? Do you need a chat? If so, email westtigersfaithful@gmail.com. I'm always up for a chat.
Indeed. We all support this cursed club.
We're in this together, that's right. And you know what? Maybe this will put a smile on your face. We don't have a sponsor anymore because, since our previous sponsor was acquired by a Fortune 500 company, the new rules of the organisation prohibit such the business being associated with such hooligans. But hey, if you're a business owner, tradie, let us know. We'll shout out your business, spread the love, get you some leads. Let us know, mate. It's all good. Life goes on.
That's what we're all about. Digital ads.
That's all what we're all about.
And leads.
Leads. It's all about leads, man.
Stand and deliver. That's what it's all about.
Let's talk about New South Wales Cup.
Yes, you watched both Pathways games. We had wins against 2 high-flying Cronulla-affiliated teams. I know you've been keen to talk about this, and you're pretty upbeat about it. So you can talk about both grades, and I'll pop in with a couple of questions.
Ripper performances. Oh man, I was honestly shocked at how good the Magpies played. I expect good things from the flag side, so it was more of like finally. Like I haven't watched them play too much this year, and I only watched the second half. But my God, they put the Sharks boys to the sword. But that start with the Magpies side, I thought that that was a really impressive performance from the game from the minute the game started. They got the wobbly boot on there at the end. They were up 32-6 at one point against the Bulldogs who were not the Bulldogs, sorry, against the Newtown Jets who were running fourth at the time, coming off a 54-0 win. The Jets were. Magpies got up 32-6, ended up winning 32-22, I think it was. Mate, it was an ultra impressive performance by young Luke Lololi'i, 18 years of age, playing in his most comfortable position of fullback, which most people would not have seen him play in. Most people would have only seen him play on the wing in first grade. But playing at fullback, he had 23 carries, 252 metres, a try, 3 try assists, 3 line break assists, an offload, and 6 tackle breaks. I just memorised that, by the way, just from reading it once.
Exceptional, but as was his performance.
That's right. Yeah, we'll talk about him. Sorry. But yeah, no, Luke was outstanding playing fullback, and very, very happy to see it. Look, I mean, he's only 18. To be able to put a performance like that on the board, not just like, against any old New South Wales Cup side, but a good one, full of pretty good first grade. Like there was some good first graders mixed in there that he ran into. So ultra impressive. Jackson Rami once again was impressive. Pretty much he's like the Terrell May of the New South Wales Cup side at the moment. Does a big carry job every week. Up over 150 meters most weeks. Big minutes, good carries, good PCM, good offloads, good tackle breaks, pretty high tackle efficiency. Have to say, pretty surprised he didn't get a call up this week. That's been about 3 or 4 weeks in a row now where he would be on the 3-2-1 pretty easily in New South Wales Cup. And now I think that's 2 in a row wins as well, I think. And maybe even 3 from their last 4, maybe. I'll have to cast my mind back. But yeah, so I'm surprised. Talon was, he was ripper, man. Like Talon's too good for New South Wales Cup as a footballer, but in terms of the intricacies of playing the dummy half position, it's weird. He's got the same sort of issue as Brandon Smith, I think, where like his first inclination is to try to beat them running. Like he's definitely a running 9, and like it's tough to see a first grade future as a starting 9, 80-minute 9 when there are so many deficiencies to his play creation ability. But it kind of also, it's also like, he's so good at running the ball and he's so quick off the mark and he's so good at breaking a tackle. And if he sees space, like if he's close to the line and he gets a gap, he scores. Like he's like Mason like that. They both kind of have that where they can really go for the gap. Their acceleration off the mark is elite. But he had a great game, really good stats. I thought Solomon Afatape was really impressive. He impresses me every time. I think he's still got plenty of improvement in him. And he has shown good signs in first grade at times. It's just he's got a big clanger in him. He's got a big howler in him. So if he can get the howler out of his game, he's definitely got potential. I thought Kurt Falls again, played a really steady hand at 7. Ran the ball a lot.
The short ball he gave to Ruben Porter was beautiful.
That was a ripper, wasn't it? Yeah. And Ruben Porter, takes it. I think that led to who scored off that? That was Luke's try, was it?
Oh, no, Luke scored. The fullback, sorry.
Yeah, Luke scored off of. I think it must have been.
I think it was Mapapa Lungi, wasn't it?
Mapapa Lungi's try. Yeah, that's right. I think Porter offloaded to one guy who then brought it back to Mapapa Lungi on the inside. Eliel Zakem has been called up on the extended bench in first grade. He's been all right. He's certainly, been the second best performing forward in the pack over the last month. And given our weakness in the back row, it doesn't surprise me to see them trying to push him into first grade calculations. He's tough to handle. He's got a bit of skill about him. Big, rangy, but definitely a reserve grader. Like he hasn't got a big tank. You can see he gasses pretty easily. He's got a howler in him too. Reminds me a lot of Webster Mansfield in the way he plays. Very similar sort of player. Very similar sort of player with very similar ceiling, I think. I thought Kit was outstanding off kickoffs, and aside from that, invisible. Like he's so similar to Royce Hunt in his approach to football. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I think Royce has put him under his wing.
Yeah, like it's just if he'll back fence it every time, and then he'll start sucking in the big ones, and that'll be the end of it. Debut performance for Peter Tarteo off the bench. Look, stats weren't great. But my God, the man is hard to move off the mark. He's definitely a unique specimen as far as West Tigers props go. For those who don't know, he was on a Canberra development contract this year. They've released him from his development contract, finds himself at the West Tigers. He put on an awesome hit, real under the ribs, picked up the player, dumped them on the back, really early in his stint, which is it's welcome to the Magpies, Peter Tarteo. That was good to see. And there was no one who really underperformed. So I thought it was an outstanding win against a pretty red hot side.
Well said, mate. From what I saw, it was great to see and really reassuring that obviously Luke and Talon just went back to that grade and just had a red-hot crack and basically said to the rest of the boys, just get on the back of us and follow us all day. And they just created opportunity after opportunity. From what I saw, as you said, I thought Falls kicked and organised pretty well, which is exactly what this side needs. I thought that Christian Mapapalangi had some good touches again. I mean, he was a shining light at the New South Wales Cup Magic round against Penrith in a pretty poor performance. But now he's sort of an important player, but not the only important player, which is, or the only one creating points, which is awesome. These boys roll on this week to play the Bulldogs. A lot of people will be watching this game simply because it's Mitch Woodson's debut.
Oh, he's
in the grade, so keep an eye on that. But and we could see a late inclusion of one Lachlan Galvin. But pretty strong team list named there. Luke at the back, Charlie's back in that grade. Isaac Tupor retains his spot with Alex Lobb dropping out. Another person that's dropped out is Josh Folletti, this time in place of Brent Naden, and Solomona Fatape, who you mentioned earlier, does keep his spot. Royce Hunt, the front row, should be good fun as well. So, look, the Dogs are a good side, very well drilled, stick to their system and their process in this grade, and a lot of young kids, but, really hoping to see another win from these blokes as they continue. Hopefully, they're charged up the ladder now that there's some genuine depth in that back line and at 9.
Yeah, it's the strongest New South Wales Cup side they've named this year, which is interesting considering how weak our first grade side looks. But anyway, it's they've been strengthened with the inclusions of Staines and Naden for sure. Fellety's gone, so I assume Fellety's playing flag.
He is playing flag, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably his level at the moment. It puts into perspective, though, right? Like, we talk about some of these flag kids, like, oh, there's a future there, and talk about Felety like, he hasn't amounted to much. But Fellety's been playing New South Wales Cup the whole time. So, I don't know. Well, I think they're in with a chance. The Dogs are a decent side in New South Wales Cup, but they're not well beating at the moment. I don't think Galvin will play.
They're not Newtown. Yeah, I don't think he will either. I think he'll get minutes off the bench for the Dogs. But
I think he'll play first grade because I don't think that they would name Mitchell Woods to debut at 7 in New South Wales Cup just to have Galvin come back in and push him back down.
Oh, definitely. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I mean, he'll come off the bench in first grade.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very surprised to see him play rookies, but
Yeah, I don't think that they want to avoid playing. They want to avoid the first Galvin game in a Bulldogs jersey being against the Tigers New South Wales Cup side. Like, what a dumb thing to do if that's what they choose to do. I know Galvin would do it because he doesn't give a shit. Like, you know, he if they put him in the side, he'd roll out there. But Royce Hunt, you imagine Royce Hunt just being dropped, like running it like the Galvin. I don't think Phil Gould would approve of such behaviours personally.
No, I think he's smart enough to avoid that. But anyway, great result from those boys, and really good to see them finally gelling and actually looking like a decent side. Another team that looked like a decent side was the Jersey Flag side. Sorry, Frothy, we did talk about Sione. He absolutely got a mention. We
big mention. Stats. Had a ripping game. Yeah. We love Sione on this podcast. He's a dog. Oh, he's a tiger.
Sione stands. Nonetheless, 30-18, the Tigers over the Sharks in the under-21s, and had some very strong praise for the man that you saw in depth for the first time. One, Jared Hayward.
Yeah, Jared Hayward. After I watched this game, granted, it was before I watched Talon. My inclination, my comment was, "Wow, Jared Hayward is a gun. Bye bye TDS." That's what I said. And then Talon came out and had a starring performance in New South Wales Cup. Look, it's funny how the West Tigers just seem to find nines, isn't it? Like, it's just never been a position we've struggled with. But now. At least with the talk of Talon maybe moving on, I'm not worried. I'm genuinely not worried. I know Talon will go on to be a good first grader for sure. Like, there's no doubt about that. Potentially a very good first grader, and potentially considering he would hypothetically be an ex-Tiger, probably an Australian first grade player. But Jared Hayward is made of elite stuff. Completely different type of player. Different type of nine than most you see. He's definitely a play creating nine. He has a ball off the ground that is really weird. Like, when he distributes off the ground, the way he picks it up and passes it, it's not like Talon, who is really good at scooping. Like, Talon gets the ball off the ground real fast. Jared picks it up and holds onto it, and there's a big motion to the way he throws it, but he has it on a string. Like, he throws it out in front of the ball runner in a way where it arrives exactly on time. Like, it never comes out behind them. It always ends up right in front of their chest, right here, whether they're running a flat line, whether they're running deep. It's a soft ball, which means that every time Jared Hayward picks the ball up when they're like right in front of the try line, it's like a coin flip whether a forward's going to score a try, because he is that good. He's that good at like doing that, like look out this way and then just at the very last second flick it back that way, and he'll just hit them exactly with this peach soft ball, and like one-on-one most forwards will win in that collision as long as they catch the ball. And so that's, such a weapon. But even outside of that, he just seems like he's just playing 3 rucks ahead, which is for a kid of his age, his SG ball age, playing flag, and was easily the best player on the park. Not even no one else was in the debate. And that was the team coming first.
Yeah. That
he played against. Jared Hayward he's different seed. I'm so glad we've got him locked in already. He's already locked in for 2027 top 30, I think. Or 20, yeah, I think he is. I think he's next year development top 30 the year after.
Yeah, I think you're correct. Similar with other
Christian Tapau
players, yes, and Phoenix Godney. Couple of guys that we sort of shouted out earlier in the year when junior reps season kicked off. Guys like Logan Deninja, Cameron Canaan. I know he's not SG ball age anymore, but yeah, I know you're a fan of him, as you are with Brendan Naikori.
Yeah, I like them 1 to 17, bro. Like that side that played on the weekend, it was impressive. I went into that game not really knowing the names of many of the forwards, but they all put their hands up. Like they had a really good game down to a number. Of the first graders, I could pick out. I think Lona Dyninja is a 2027 first grader. I think he's like a year away because he's just a little bit small. What I really liked from him, the knock on him I had this year from his SG ball performances was his level of involvement was very. He come in and out of the contest way too much. But here it was different. Like, he was on ball. He was taking it one off the rock and trying to, like, he was playing a lot more like Bula. Like, he was very involved, taking a lot of hit ups, and scored a try in the first half. Cameron Canaan as a winger is a first grader. Like, I'm confident in saying he will play first grade as a winger. I think he's already made his New South Wales Cup debut. I don't know if it was last year or this year, but I vaguely recall him playing New South Wales Cup already. So so he's in and around the like broader pathways. He should. I would be thinking 2026 development for Canaan. He's also got fullback capabilities, center. He's big body, fast, good finisher, got a little bit of skill, really good progressive talent, because I think he's got a really high floor as an outside back prospect. Might be somebody who you don't see push into first grade in high minutes. In like frequent performances until maybe he was like more like 21. But I think he's 19 at the moment, so he's 1 year out of SG ball, I think, Canaan. So he's got a couple more years of leg eligibility. Mitch Tautua as a centre, he reminds me of what did I say? I don't know who it was that I said. Oh, he reminds me of that. Who's that numbnuts that, like, the dumbest Conrad Harrell. He's a built low to the ground, bullocking sort of centre, and he's got a big like Islander hair. Like he's got that cult sort of style to it. Both halves are interesting, because Max Lars and Mark Tannis are very similar types of halves. They're both genuine halfbacks, I think. Like they're both. Right. They're both very much playmakers. They're thinking about how to put guys in space or where to kick. That's their mentality. Like, their first mentality is to create for others instead of for themselves, which is not Latu's first mentality. It's not Jerome Luai's first mentality. It's not even the halves that we've got in New South Wales. Aside from Falls. Falls obviously is that kind of half as well. But these guys have both got potential. I would persevere with both of them. I think Max Lyles is a fair bit older than Tannis. Tannis is an SG ball age player, and Lyles is, I think, probably 20.
I think he might be 21 this year.
Maybe even 21, yeah. But Lyles also played in the trial, so obviously the Tigers rate him, and they've done well to find him and persevere with him, because he was a little bit. I think he was a little bit hidden last year. I didn't see much out of him last year to like sort of show that he was going to become what he's sort of starting to look like. These are players that I could easily see, as long as we can hold on to them and continue their development. Next year, most of the New South Wales Cup side will probably be made up of guys that are in this 17. And I think that we will be all the better for that. There's a lot of guys that we've brought in to play to do a job in New South Wales Cup this year because of the lack of, progressive talent that could potentially push through. In the forwards, I thought Lachlan Broadalow was like at times completely unable to be contained.
He's unplayable in that grade in attack. His issue is simply his defence.
Yeah.
He's done on his inside shoulder. If he fixes that, he is arguably right up there as one of the better back row prospects in this club.
Yep, definitely agree. Saukuru in the back row. I didn't see the try scored in the first half. I'll need to go back and watch the highlights. I only sort of really watched from like the about just before halftime, when they went on on a tear and sort of won the game. But from what I saw, as sad as it is to say, considering he's the only top 30 contracted player that was on the field, he was probably the worst player on the field. I'm sorry, but like, and it's not. I don't think it was because he was outright bad, but the quality of the West Tigers was pretty up there, and he was definitely. I filmed the TV and sent you the footage of that like one try he butchered where Lyles put in.
It was hilarious.
Lyles puts in this like beautiful kick, like unbelievable. Like I don't think I've seen Jerome Luai put in a better kick in my life. Right, Lyles puts in this kick from about 30 out, and like Saukuru is leading the chase the whole way, and it's like it's angled towards the corner post. He's a left footer. He's about halfway to the sideline, angles it towards the corner post, a bit of like a hard long grubber, and Saukuru leads the chase. And the ball's bouncing, and I think Saukuru assumes that it's going to keep doing the low bounce and like sort of skip off the ground. So instead of just trying to catch the ball and ground it, you can see him premeditatively think about trying to like bat it back to Canaan. But instead of it like actually skipping on, it just catches on the last bounce and just bounces straight into his chest. And he's diving on, and like if he's just literally just dives and catches the ball, he scores a ripper try. But instead, he just swats the ball back at Canaan, who's over the fucking sideline at the time. Canaan just and that's the guy that we've got on the top 30 in this side. But anyway, aside from that, I thought Mata'ale was good. Shaquille Tavita, I've never seen before. There was one carry he made which like had me, firm. it was a back fence carry, and like he put them on their ass. Like he got back to like the 35-meter mark or something off the kickoff. Like big carry, big lad, big chunky lad. Leonard Platy scored a ripper try off of a Hayward short ball. Big chunky lad. He's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player. Now, exciting performance from them. It looks like they're going to be a serious threat in flag, to be honest, now that they've funneled through some of these SG ball guys. We didn't see Duncan. We didn't see Phoenix Godinez. I know somebody mentioned that Riley Whitman scored 4 tries for Camden Rams against Thirlmere on the weekend. He's somebody who's going to be in calculations for this side for sure. But they're going with Logan Deninja at the moment. But you'd have to think Riley will be there or thereabouts if the situation changes, and Logan's showed to be a little bit brittle at times. So yeah, exciting performance. It's sort of been a pretty miserable first half of the year for the Tigers pathways. There was a lot of like I felt like I was a little bit disappointed because I had high expectations. But it's good to see them turn the corner. And I think that I put the flag turning the corner largely down to bringing in Jared Hayward, bringing in like Max Lyles and Mark Tannis playing really good in the halves. They play very mature for the grade, which helps everybody else because they're really good game managers. It helps everybody else make their lives easier because they're playing from good field position and stuff like that, And in the younger grades, that stuff's rare. Most of the halves don't play like that. Most of the halves are running paths, running passing halves, not like that real tactician style. Obviously, Logan Deninja's playing a role, Canaan on the wing. It's a strong side. For New South Wales Cup, I think that the majority of the reason that they're performing well is because of Kurt Falls, to be honest. I think similarly, it's having a freaking halfback. It's having a genuine game manager halfback who can make sure that the side is in good position. Whether that's putting a good kick in at a good time to make sure we're defending in good position, or whether it's getting us around the field, putting us in good position. The 7, the 9 in both grades, really, really promising, really, really quality. In first grade, it's probably what we're lacking.
Of which we have debated many, many times. But nonetheless, good to see those Pathways teams have a change in fortunes, and I hope that it continues this week with both teams facing off against Canterbury. Mac, what do you want to do next? You want to answer some questions, or you want to call it a night?
Nah, we'll do some quick Q&A. Why not? And it does turn out that was Big Damo. He admitted that he was ex-Balmain winger Big Damo. I forget your last name, Big Damo, but there's a lot of Tigers fans in and around the West Tigers Forum and things like that are iconic. But Big Damo has a certain way, there's some negative people. But Big Damo's spirit of negativity, you can tell, is just frustration from an old Balmain soul who has been suffering. for quite some time. Look, I've got the first question for you. Let me read them out. I'll read them out just so that the people who are listening back on the podcast can actually. So the question from Benchy is, would we welcome Junior Tupu back to the fold? Junior Tupu has obviously been given permission to negotiate with rival clubs from the Dolphins.
It's a tough one, isn't it? He's got raw talent that quite simply cannot be coached. He is one of the most naturally talented players in the league, in my opinion. The problem is that his hands let him down constantly and he can fade in and out of games. He's absolutely a confidence player, and that can be a real worry. If the price was right and, he was willing to sort of sit at first drop, I would look into it. It's sort of like a Brent Naden upgrade. But I'll be really interested to see whether or not the club goes back there, because they offered him fair dollars for what he was at the time. It was just that Christian Wolf went way above market value. Gun to head, I probably wouldn't. I'd go for somebody steadier that I know can do a job. What would you do?
We need forwards depth. We have Luke Lallee, Charlie Staines, and Brent Naden in outside back steps. We've got Josh Felitti on top 30. We've got some players that I honestly think, like, if late in the season, if he comes back in Tino Tavana, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I wouldn't be afraid to pick him. I don't think we need Junior Tupu. But if Richo is not going to bring in forward steps, we do need to fill in our top 30, and you could do worse. I'm not super fussed on it either way. CB says Galvin kisses his dad on the lips. Scott here says, will TDS stay?
Really hard one at the moment, I think, to sort of get a read on. And Mario Tartak sort of came out quickly and said this isn't a Lachlan Galvin situation, but then in the same sentence said it will effectively hinge on Appy. He might have no choice but to go elsewhere. I think it'll really depend on Uppy's extension. If Uppy's extension goes into 2028, then I would expect to lose him. There's opportunities at other clubs to walk in and be a starting 9 tomorrow, let alone in a couple of years. He's a wonderfully talented player, and albeit not the finished product, but nonetheless, he may do what is in his best interest. I would like for him not to do that, but we may not get a choice.
Brandon asks, can we get Mitch Woods?
Well, that'd be nice, but I don't think that'll happen. I think what you'll eventually see is that Galvin he'll come into grade at the Dogs at 7, but he'll eventually move to 6. So Mitchell is locked up under lock and key.
Andrew asks, any truth to the rumour Logan Dillon might be coming back? The Urukai!
I haven't heard that, and I don't know where he'd fit, quite frankly.
I don't think he's serious, mate. I don't think you need to bless that question with a serious response.
Andy. Oh my god! How do I manage that?
In fairness,
on that theoretical banana skin.
In fairness, I have heard that rumor. It's got legs. Heard it here first. Galvin named at 23 this weekend, probably playing Reggie's. No, I disagree on that front. Look, that's it. No other questions. Does nobody have any questions? Have we been that comprehensive?
We've lost 3 on the trot. I think it's as simple as that, mate.
No, it's because Toby's not here. Where are you, dog? Where's Toby? Come back. We need Toby here. I think Damien agrees. Damo says young Hayward is a gun. NRL shortly. Okay, let's ask a question. Could you see Jared Hayward playing NRL in 2025?
Oh, no.
You can't see it? Or you just don't think it'll happen?
I need to see him in New South Wales Cup. I just don't know how he's going to go tackling men. Maybe.
I can see it.
I think he's got the IQ, but just in terms of his...
He does have 2 good 9s ahead of him in the depth. You know what I mean? Like, so if Appy gets hurt, they've got Tristan Hope, they've got Talon. It'd take a fair bit for Jared Hayward to leap above Tristan Hope and Talon. Yeah. I suppose, like, if 2 out of 3 of those got hurt, and Appy was one of those 2, you might see Jared Hayward leap into first grade calculations to play that, like, relief role off the bench if Tristan Hope's the 9 or Talon's the 9 and Hope can't play the role off the bench. But even then, you're probably more likely to see somebody like Latu or Heath Mason maybe play that, like, backup 9 role. Look, I think that if he continues to perform as well as he is, like right now he's playing 14 in flag. Well, that's what he did on the weekend. So first things first is unseat Joe Cece Lanyon. And then he's got to find his way in the New South Wales Cup. And this weekend, a New South Wales Cup, Talon De Silva's the 9 and Tristan Hope's the 14. So is he gonna even get into New South Wales Cup unless there's like, you know, different things happening, you know what I mean? So it's probably unlikely. I'd say it's pretty unlikely.
I reckon he'll be there.
Chris says, why is Reedie's mic so bloody quiet? I don't know. I don't think it is.
Oh, well, I apologise if it is, Chris. I'm not
absolutely
Chris.
Sure. Is that you, Chris Lawrence? Chris Lawrence promised he would come on the podcast sometime this year, and he still hasn't agreed. So this is a call out. Chris Lawrence, you like to tweet about footy. You don't work for the club. You don't have an NRL job anymore. Come on, talk shit. You're free. You know what I mean? You can come on here, shout out your business. I know you got a good business. It's a training organisation to, you know, get your if you want to get your Cert 3 or Cert 4 in personal training, hit up Chris Lawrence's training company. I don't know if you could Google Chris Lawrence's training company and find it. You probably can, actually. You just talk for a second while I try to find it. Chris Lawrence's training company.
It's One Wellbeing.
Thanks, man. One Wellbeing. Yeah, Google One Wellbeing if you are, you know, hard up for a new career and, you know, want to join the industry with the highest rate of scam and underemployment, and, you know, work at a fitness first and try to hustle a living together. One Wellbeing. Hit them up.
Oh, wonderful. I believe that Giles has got a question. Can you bring that up, please?
Yeah, sure. How long do you think someone could live without their skin before succumbing to infection? Oh, sorry, that's not Giles. That's Cultured Bogan. Thanks, CB, for asking such an awesome question. Look, the short answer is it depends. It depends on whether they're living in a sterile environment. It depends on whether they've been able to maintain their hydration to a degree where they could piss on themselves, because piss is a natural disinfectant. So, you know, there's a few. It's a depends question. You need to offer more of a premise. Where's Joel's question?
Could you imagine how hard it would be to piss on that part of your back that you can barely scratch with your hand?
You just piss on the ground and then roll around in it, bro. It's pretty easy.
But then you get
Joel's asked, do we need to fill in our top 30? We filled it prior to June and players have left. Have we not met the requirement?
I believe that there is a quote-unquote loophole that if you had players in your top 30 at the beginning of the NRL financial year in November, that you can actually use those as top 30 players. So David Klemmer and Lachlan Galvin and Justin Olam all qualify. Would I do that myself? Absolutely not. We are in dire need of depth, as witnessed by the team list that has been named. We need a front rower, a lock forward, another back rower, and if you can help it, Richo, a left centre, that'd be really nice. But no, there is no pressing matter to get that done. But you cannot bring players in from external clubs after June 30. So 27
you can't?
days.
Not even from New South Wales Cup?
You get, like, if they're in your. Oh, actually, I don't know how that works. But
like if another club like releases a player, you can sign them, can't you?
Yeah, well, yes, obviously that can be done,
but can you? So actually, it's a good question. Like, if your top 30 is empty at June 30, can you sign people to the top 30 after June 30? Because if you can, then what's the actual limitation?
I think you have to promote from within. I think that.
So you have to sign them to a training trial first and then upgrade them. It sounds, I don't know, I need some clarification. Can we please get Peter Volandis on here to clarify for me? I need that. My answer to that question, though, is yes. No. What are we doing? You got a limit of 30 first graders to pick from. Why are we like shooting ourselves in the foot? Just go out there and just sign some fat slug so that we have some props, man. Like, come on. Like, we've got wing depth coming out of our ears that can pinch hit at center. We're fine. We need some middles, bro. We need some back rowers, bro. Like, come on. We obviously don't have to upgrade the training trialists because we've already got them. But we do need to. Mate, we need some middles. Like you look at, let's just do a quick thought experiment. No, not it's less of a thought experiment. It's a bad description. Let's just look at our opposition New South Wales Cup side this weekend. They are running out some, I don't know, the bad example. Their props are Larry Muir and Zion Maliu, and then they've got Logan Spinks on the bench. Wait, what position does he play?
Back row.
Yeah, get him. He's on the bench in New South Wales Cup of the Dogs. Go get him. Go get him, Richo. What have we got? The Knights versus the Seagulls. Who have they got running around in reserve grade on the bench? We got Matt Lodge. Go get him. Why not? Jacob Sykes. He's not a bad player. Go get him. Mason Teague playing lock for the Knights. Caleb Navale. He's a good player. Like, come on, there's some forwards here. You can go and get some. Who else we got? Jets versus Warriors. What have they got running around in reserve grade?
Well, Newtown haven't even named a team at this point.
Yeah, what's going on there? Tom Ale, he's played first grade for the Warriors. Bunty Afoa, he's a very experienced player. Yeah, I'd love to sign Bunty. Go get him. What are we even doing? Parramatta versus the Roosters. Who have they got in the forwards? They got Matt Dury playing prop for the Eels. Why not? He's a good player. Charlie Geimer, he's all right. They've got, and then the Roosters have Marka Makator, Della Salivala. Oh, he's a good player. Della Salivala.
He can play.
Good player. He's a good player. But yeah, the Roosters won't let him go. No, I'm not done yet. Davi Moale is playing in Rabbitohs. Tim Johansson, he's played first grade. Bring him back. He'd be in the first grade side right now if he never left. What are you doing, Tim? just bring him back. Just mend that fence. He's already trained in the system. Just reverse that. He's only on a training trial. Just go get him. Just go. Sorry, mate. Come back. We need you back. Why not? Why don't we live in a world where such logical things can happen? Anyway, Ofahiki Ogden. I'd take Ofahiki. Why not?
I'd take him too.
Austin Diaz. Bring him back. He's played a first grade game. he'd be on our bench this week if he was at the time. Anyway. He would, wouldn't he?
Sign some players, Richard.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Good luck to the boys this weekend in all three grades. Good luck to everybody listening, everybody in the live cast with watching our boys this weekend. Hopefully they can get us all in. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna hit the old dusty trail. See you all next week. Hopefully coming off of the back of a stirring victory. So peace out, y'all.